Denny, the reason we're using this format is to get you prepared for your interview with the President Captain.
If I can only figure out the microphone. That's perfect. You guys hear me?
Okay, good. I think if you wanted to open up with a couple of words before we get to the questions.
Yeah. I'll just hold it like this. I think this is easier. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's great to be here with everyone. Obviously, we're going to get more in depth of what the Walker Cup, of my experience, but it's pretty incredible to be picked and represent your country, especially coming from Maryland. From my understanding, there's not many people that have come from Maryland to be on the Walker Cup. But you know, anytime you can be on a list on a team that's had so many great players come through, obviously it's a great accomplishment. I've worked my whole life to get to that point. That was a goal going into college of mine, was to really make the Walker Cup team, and even after I graduated, I basically held off on turning pro for the Walker Cup. It's just something I wanted to do. I played in the Junior Ryder Cup my senior year of high school, and I thought that was the first time I'd really represented my country in something. I thought it was the coolest experience ever, so I wanted to get back to that point. And ending my amateur career with the Walker Cup was pretty amazing.
Great. I happened to look at a partial schedule of the events. Was it difficult to concentrate on the task at hand when you had dinner and all these ceremonial engagements?
Not really. I mean, we did have a lot of stuff we had to attend to, but that's all part of the experience. When you're with a group of guys like I was with, our captain and everything, it makes everything a lot easier. We had a great group of guys. All the events were earlier in the week, so we had a couple days to really prepare for the actual golf. But I didn't think it was too difficult. Like I said, we had a bunch of guys there with us, so we were kind of just enjoying it all.
Good. You mentioned the Junior Ryder Cup at Glen Eagles. How helpful was that event and playing in the Amateur Championship at Royal Portrush, navigating a course like Royal Lytham and St. Anne's?
I think the British Am at Royal Portrush was more helpful than Junior Ryder. The Junior Ryder Cup was it was really cool, but it was more of an American style golf course. They actually played the Ryder Cup there at Glen Eagles last year, if you guys may recall. So that was a more American style golf course. Courses like Royal Portrush are very, very penalizing. I know you've had your fair share of playing over in Ireland, and those kind of courses will make you see the center of the fairway. And at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, you really had to hit the center of the fairway. Can't tell you how many times. No matter what kind of wind there was, it just seemed like there was a pot bunker perfectly placed for that kind of wind. And let me tell you, you do not want to get in the pot bunkers at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, because I promise you it's the same thing as hitting it in a water hazard. It's a shot penalty. You're literally chipping out sideways anytime you hit it in there. So it's more about it's more about navigating the course. So obviously, number one thing is avoiding all pot bunkers at any cost. So there's times where it'd be better to hit it in the high grass and miss it way off the fairway than it would be to just miss it off the fairway a little bit. So it's really about figuring out the golf course. That was our number one goal going into the week. Try and avoid all pot bunkers. Didn't quite work out for us, but so that's number one thing. It's just a different kind of golf. I mean, it's you're hitting on ground that's like this wood right here. You could hit a drive that looks like it's going right down the middle, and it just keeps rolling. It takes a bump or two left to right, and all of a sudden you're up against the lip in a bunker. So that was kind of different to experience. But mentally, you have to get by that. You kind of know you're gonna get some bad breaks. So going into it, you kind of got to accept that and just move on from there. But all in all, it was really cool to play that style of golf. Like I haven't played much of it, but that was a really good taste of what it could be like in possible British Opens in the future.
Hopefully you'll get, I'll see you at 2019 Fort Rush.
I'd love to get back.
Get another shot at it.
Hopefully they make it easier.
I don't think they're doing that. What was the most surprising part of your Walker Cup experience?
I'd have to say, you'd be really surprised how close the relationships we established with our own team members. I knew most of the guys on a pretty decent level going into it. Some guys I didn't really know at all. But a couple days into the trip, you would have thought we were 10 best friends. So that was really cool about it. We all we were all very close with each other. We're all always picking each other up, always poking around with each other, messing around, just like any other team event would be. So you'd be really surprised how close we became in a short amount of time. Also, I'd have to say, we did a lot of really cool things outside of golf that people might not know of. And the first thing we did was, when we got announced for the team. That later that week, we all went up to Latrobe, which is where Arnold Palmer is from, and we spent 2 full days with Arnold Palmer. Played Latrobe in Laurel Valley. Latrobe is where he grew up. We had 2 dinners with him those 2 nights. We all sat at a table with him. Went to his office, which is right across the street from Latrobe. He's got the house he grew up in as a kid, the house he lives in now, and his office, his main office. He has people working there with him. Got to go in his workshop and see everything he did. His barn, or his shed they call it. He no joke, had 1,000 old sets of irons. And everything that he kept. I mean, you'd be amazed at some of the things he kept. I mean, it's incredible just to see. So that was really cool to spend 2 days with the king. And then right before we left, we all met up in New York. Got to go to the 9/11 memorial. That was a really touching experience. I'd never, you don't forget about it, but obviously it happened a long time ago, and you go there and see something like that, it kind of just puts things into perspective for you. So that was really neat to spend a day in New York there. And then when we got to England, we got to play a couple different courses, but we also got a tour of Liverpool football, as they call it over there, Liverpool Football Stadium, and we all got to meet their head coach, and they all gave us a jersey with our name on the back. We got to tour the stadium, got to walk on the field, and it's probably the nicest grass I've ever seen on a field.
Instead of fairways.
Instead of fairways, it was like carpet. It was really cool. So those were just some of the things we got to do outside of golf.
Did you all use nicknames Arnold Palmer gave you?
We all kind of had our own nicknames for each other before he gave them to us, but we kind of combined them here and there.
What advice?
What was yours?
My name was. They called me. There was a member on the team. They called me Lenny, and it was actually my partner Bill Hostler. He's called me Lenny for a year now, and so he called me Lenny, and everyone started calling me Lenny, and so Arnold Palmer gave me the nickname Lenny Kravitz. So I'm Lenny Kravitz.
What advice did you get from former Walker Cuppers about the experience?
During the practice session in Sea Island, Corey Whitsitt, who went to Alabama, graduated, was on the Walker Cup team 2 years ago. He lives in Sea Island. He came to dinner and talked to us, and told us that waiting for the Walker Cup will be the best decision you'll ever make. Making that team will be the coolest experience of your life. Things like that. And same with Marty West, who obviously played on 2 Walker Cup teams. He sent me a really nice text after I'd been selected for the team, saying, really proud of you. It's a great accomplishment. You made the right decision. You'll always be known as a Walker Cupper. And I never really knew what that meant at the time, because I had been selected for the team, but I hadn't experienced the Walker Cup yet. And at the time, waiting to turn pro and staying in for the Walker Cup, I knew it was the right decision in my mind, as the decision that I wanted. But after the Walker Cup, I didn't realize that it was the best decision I've probably ever made in my life.
One more question, and then ask questions from the audience. What adjustments did you need to make going from foursomes to singles in the afternoon? And do you think the foursomes gave the GB9 team an advantage?
The adjustment you need to make is you need to hit every shot in singles. Foursomes, I'll tell you what, foursomes is really tough. We played a good amount of practice rounds trying to prepare for foursomes. I played foursomes in a junior Ryder Cup for the first time, and that was 4+ years ago. It's tough. It's really hard to get in a rhythm playing foursomes. You really got to stay mentally sharp. I mean, there's times we played the first couple practice rounds. I mean, there's times where it felt like I didn't hit a shot for a half hour. I mean, that's how it felt. You might hit a chip or two here and there, but you might not actually hit a shot for 30 minutes, which is really tough. And then all of a sudden, you got to step up and thread a drive through pot bunkers on a 490-yard par 4. So that was difficult. It wasn't easy. But we got used to it. It's easy to take your mind off it, when you're not playing a shot. Obviously it's your partner's turn to play the shot, so it's easy for your mind to kind of relax a little bit. But that's not the case. You really gotta. I found it was better for me to be with my partner and walking and talking through the shot just to keep my mind engaged. So that's what we both kind of did. We both found that it was tough to get in a rhythm. So it'd be best if we both kind of like talk through each shot and just discuss, just keep our mind going, keep our mind engaged, so we didn't kind of take a shot off and relax our minds, because you can't really do that when you're playing a pretty important match.
Sure.
What was the second part of the question?
Did it give GB9 an advantage?
I think so. They first of all, they played all those kind of courses here. I'm pretty good buddies with a couple of the guys on their team, and they had all played that course several times. So that was, first of all, it's an advantage playing over there, but second of all, they had an advantage because most of them had played the course. It was tough for us to adjust to, because we played most of our practice rounds with the same wind, and we get to the tournament the first day and it's a completely different wind, so we were like, what the hell's going on? So I'd say that they had an advantage, but in the end they played great golf. I thought we as a team played some really solid golf, but in the end they just played better and beat us.
Does anybody else have a question? Randy?
Denny, based on your experiences at Chambers and with them, and also having played the Las Vegas event, what in your mind do you think is what you most need to work on now for the next level?
Everything. No, I'd say the one aspect would be, well, there's a couple aspects. Mentally, those guys are very calm and even keeled. Sometimes I have a tendency to get a little up and down myself emotionally, so I think I can improve on that. Second of all, those guys they don't make mistakes. Especially seeing in the tour event, I mean, they're very sharp around the greens. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good short game and putting and everything. But some of those guys are really, really sharp around the greens. I mean, they'll hit 9 out of 10 on a pretty tough shot. They'll hit a pretty darn good shot. So that was kind of eye-opening. Just you gotta be sharp around the greens. Second of all, it's just, I feel like I'm pretty good at course management, mapping myself around a course, which is what you really have to do at a course like Chambers Bay. You can see that all those guys have a strategy going into the week, going into the round. Certain pin placements where you want to miss it, where you can't miss it. What kind of with the wind, what side of the fairway you want to be on. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff you got to take in. I learned a great deal at that Chambers Bay. I actually was fortunate enough. I'm buddies with Jordan Spieth. I got to play 9 holes with him at Chambers Bay. And after playing 9 holes with him, my brother and I kind of walked off, and we're just like, he's gonna win. We could just have that just had that feeling about it, just because for that 9 holes, this was a Monday afternoon practice round at 4 p.m., 3 days before the tournament starts. And I mean, he was treating it like it was the last round of the U.S. Open. I mean, he was so detailed in every kind of, if they're not going to play this tee if it's this kind of wind, if it's this tee, or if it's this kind of wind, they're going to play this tee and they're going to put the pin there. And we got to that day and we're like, this is exactly what he said. And he was just very smart. So I learned a great deal from him. Just, it's not about how you're hitting it really going into the week. I mean, you really got to know the course inside and out. So that's one thing I think I can work on a great deal going forward.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Coming from the table of the junior golfers here, you were obviously a legend as a junior golfer in this area, and now you're a professional, which is really a dream come true for these junior golfers. So could you share with us what you did at UVA that helped you with the transition from going from junior golf to professional golf?
Sure. I had a great coaching staff, first of all, that really pushed me, and Coach Sargent did a great job at UVA. Going in there, choosing UVA, I chose to go there because, one, it's a great school, it's great academics, and it's a great opportunity for me. Two, the facilities there were great. It might not be the warmest weather there, but I felt like I could get a good amount of work done and get a lot better at the practice facilities there, especially the short game area, they have a great short game area, which I spent a lot of time on over my 4 years there. And 3, I had a great coaching staff that I knew was going to make me better, and I knew was going to push me. So my transition, it wasn't too difficult. I mean, everybody at a certain level hits it the same. It's not about ball striking. I mean, it's a lot of guys hit it the same. It's all about around the greens. I mean, if you can really sharpen your shots around the green and really hone in, it's all about short game and putting. You'll find out as you go along. A lot of guys hit it the same, and it's all about short game and course management. And, I've learned that over my 4 years at UVA. My first year, I kind of played off of talent and really I didn't really learn as much about course management. And as I went along, and really started it's like a puzzle piece, really, each course. I mean, you really just got to figure out, what you're going to do each round with certain wins. So it's a lot more thinking than people might think. So that's what I learned, and that's how I got a lot better, is more on the mental and preparation side of it.
Anybody else? Yeah, Brian.
Denny, most of us here know about this guy, Fluff and Bones and Stevie Williams. Tell us about this mystery man named Ryan and how the relationship helped you in the golf course.
I don't have a nickname for him yet, but I'm working on it. Brian and I have been great together. He's been on my bag for all 11 of my USGA events. So we might have spent a little too much time together, but it's okay. Now he's been great for me on the bag. He's a great player himself, so he knows the game very well. As you may have heard last week, Rich Lerner thinks he's better than me, but I'll have to talk to Rich about that next time I see him. But no, he knows my game very well. We see eye to eye on a lot of shots, which is very helpful for me. So when we're going over a shot, it's pretty easy. A lot going into a shot is commitment and confidence. And when someone sees the same exact thing that you see, and you discuss it, and you're going into a shot, and you know exactly what you're trying to do, and you have someone to confirm that with you, it's a lot easier to go up and hit that kind of a shot. So I think that's something that Ryan and I do really well, especially under the gun and under pressure. We kind of just keep the same mindset and put the same amount of emphasis on each shot. So I think that really helps me going into big shots, big tournaments, big event, anything you want to call it. So he's been great for me.
Great. Denny, thank you so much. One more question.
Denny, what's your schedule coming up?
Ryan and I are flying out tomorrow morning to go to California. We'll go to the second stage Q school. So starts Tuesday and ends Friday. It's 4 rounds. Been working hard the last couple weeks, so getting ready to go out there and show them what I'm all about. Thank you.
Good luck.